Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's start our class with some prayers first. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, Om Bhurbhuva Swaha, Tatsavitra Vareneyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Asto Ma Sadgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamya, Om Senavavtu, Senabhunatu, Saviryam Karvavai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavai, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Last week we ended our class where Uddhav is asking a question now. He said, what kind of a devotional service is approved by you as worthy of being offered to your Lordship? O Lord of Vaikuntha, O Master of the universe, I am fully surrendered unto you and have no shelter other than your lotus feet. Kindly explain this to me. So that means, how can we love God? So we want to love God. In our previous class, I was saying that heart should be only for God. Only for God. If we divide that between God and the people, that is not love. That's not love. And Lord Krishna is going to answer this question, Uddhav's question, and I'm sure you have this question too, how to love God. So verse number 29, that's where we are starting today. In fact, 29 to 32, it's like a together is giving some qualities of a bhakta. Labdhava sudurlabham idam bahu sambhavante manushyam arth dam anityam apiha dhiraha turnam yatet napadet anumrityu yavan nishvesaye vishye khalu sarvata sayat. I think I'm in a wrong chapter. So let's start with the 29. Kripalur krit doha titikshu sarv hehi nam satyaha saro navdhyatmaha sama sarvo upakarka kamer ahat dhir danto mridha shuchir kinchana aneho mit bhuk shantam sthitro mach charno muni अप्रमतो गभीरात्मः धृतिमः नजित सद्गुना अमानी मानद कल्यो मैत्र कारुणिकः कवि आज्ञा एवं गुणान दोषान मेयादिष्टान अपि स्वकान धर्मान संत्यज्य यो सर्वान माम भजेत सातु सत्मः. So these are verses 29 to 32 of this chapter 5. So translation of these 4 verses is that Supreme Personality of God had said. So that means Lord Krishna said to Uddhava, O Uddhava, a saintly person is merciful. Kripalu, merciful. And is never inclined to give pain to others. Even if others are aggressive, he is tolerant and forgiving towards all. His purpose in life comes from the truth itself. He is free from envy. His mind is equipoised in happiness and distress. He dedicates his time to work for the welfare of others. His intelligence is never bewildered by material desires, and he has learned to control his senses. His behavior is always pleasing, never harsh, and always exemplary, and he is free from possessiveness. He never endeavors like ordinary worldly people, and he strictly controls his eating, and so he always remains peaceful and steady. A saintly person is thoughtful and accepts me as his only shelter. Such a person is very cautious in the execution of his duties and is not disturbed even in a distressing situation. He has conquered over the 6 material qualities: hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. He is free from all desire for prestige, and he offers respect to others. He is expert in reviving the Krishna consciousness of others, and so he never cheats anyone. Rather, he is a well-wishing friend to all. Being most merciful, such a saintly person must be considered the most learned of men. He perfectly understands that the ordinary religious duties prescribed by me in various Vedic scriptures possess favorable qualities that purify the performer, and he knows that neglect of such duties constitutes a discrepancy in one's life. Having taken complete shelter at my lotus feet, however, a saintly person ultimately renounces such ordinary religious duties and worships me alone. He is thus considered to be the best among all living entities. So this is a translation of these verses. Let's look at the commentary where it's explained even further. The Supreme Lord says that there are 2 types of saintly persons: those who perform devotional service mixed with the karam or jnana, and those who engage in unalloyed devotional service. The first class of saintly persons is described in the first 3 verses. The word kripalu, if you see that is the very first word in verse number 29, kripalu. The word kripalu indicates that one is not able to tolerate others' distress. Akart droha indicates that a devotee does not wish misery even for his enemy. Titikshu means that he tolerates others' neglect and forgives the offenses committed against him. Satyasar indicates that a devotee is always fixed in the truth. Anavadhya Atma means that a pure devotee is devoid of envy and never unnecessarily criticizes others. Some means that he is equal in both happiness and distress, as well as in honor and dishonor. Sarv Upakarakaha means that a devotee is always engaged in acts meant for the welfare of others. So this is the meaning of all the words in verse number 29. Kamer ahatdhi indicates that a devotee is not agitated by lusty desires because dantaha, his senses are completely under control. Mridu means that his heart is gentle, and Shuchi means that he is pure and always careful to observe the prescribed etiquette. The word akinchan indicates that a devotee doesn't claim anything as his own. because he knows that everything belongs to the Lord. The word aneha means detached from all worldly activities. Mitbhuk refers to a person who eats pure and simple food and just enough to maintain a healthy condition of the body. Shantah means peaceful in mind. Sthir means to remain fixed in one's occupational duties and devotional activities. Mat Sharnah indicates that the devotee has taken complete shelter at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. Muni refers to a thoughtful man. Aparmat means cautious and not mad. Gabhir Atma means he whose nature is unfathomable. Dhritman means one is not agitated by the urges of the tongue and genitals. Amani means devoid of the desire for respect. Amani. Manad means to give respect to others. Kalya means that the devotee is expert in preaching to others. Maitri indicates that by his missionary activities, a devotee is friendly to everyone. Maitri. Karunika means that a devotee mercifully tries to bring people to a sane condition of life. Kavi indicates that the devotee performs all of his activities expertly. These are the 28 qualities of a pure devotee. A pure devotee who possesses the above mentioned qualities is understood to have attained the perfection of life. He no longer has any desire for liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. In the beginning, one cultivates devotional service mixed with the karam, and this karam means a karam kand, the ritualistic portion of the Vedas. And then one progresses to the practice of devotional service mixed with the jnana. The stage of perfection, however, is characterized as being devoid of karam and jnana. This is the meaning of pure devotional service. One who is thus situated on the transcendental platform is called Atmarama or Shant Bhagat. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, this is another beautiful Bhakti scripture. It is said, in this Devarak Dham, I am being attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna, who is personified spiritual bliss. Simply by seeing him, I'm feeling great happiness. Oh, I have wasted so much time trying to become self-realized through impersonal cultivation. This is a cause for lamentation. Srila Sukhdev Goswami has said, being attracted by the qualities of Shri Hari, I have heard Shrimad Bhagavatam from my father. The cultivation of knowledge is neglected by those engaged in the process of devotional service. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, it is further stated, one should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably and without desire for material profit or gain through the fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. That is called pure devotional service. So that means that no personal agenda. Doing the devotion also, doing the Karam Kand also, just to love God, that's it. Love God. As indicated in verse 32, a pure devotee of Lord is fully aware of the pious advantages of executing duties within the Varnashram system. Varnashram system. So there are 4 stages in life. So according to the stage of life, the ashram we are in, we are supposed to do our duties. Okay, brahmacharya, grihastha, vanprastha, sannyas, those are the varnashram. And he is similarly aware of the harmful mistake of neglecting such duties. Still having full faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee gives up all ordinary social and religious activities and engages fully in devotional service. He knows that Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of everything and that all perfection comes from Lord Krishna alone. Because of his extraordinary faith, the devotee is called Satatma, or the best among all living beings. From Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, one who has unflinching devotion for the personality of Godhead has all the good qualities of the demigods, the Devatas. But one who is not a devotee of the Lord has only material qualifications that are of little value. This is because he is hovering on the mental plane and is certain to be attracted by the glaring material energy. And material energy is Maya. Maya will grip us otherwise again and again. In the first 3 verses, the 28 qualities of a pure devotee are described. Among them, the 17th quality, Krishnayakaha Sharnam, is the most important, and the other 27 are secondary. See, that means the other 27 qualities we need to cultivate so that we surrender to God. Surrender to God. Kripalu, number 1. A devotee cannot tolerate seeing the world merge in ignorance and suffering the whiplashes of Maya. Therefore, he busily engages in distributing Krishna consciousness and is called Kripalu, or merciful. Number 2. Akrit Droha. Even if someone tries to harm a devotee, he does not try to retaliate. Indeed, he never tries to harm any living entity. The Mayavadis, on the other hand, are most envious and thus try to kill God. Mayavadis means who believe in the Maya. As well as the individuality of the living entities. Thus, the impersonalists are their own worst enemies, and they are certainly the enemies of their unfortunate followers. That means they keep on hurting others. And when they hurt others, they are hurting themselves too. Fruitive workers are also envious of their self because they purposely absorb themselves in material affairs so that they do not have the chance to understand their external or eternal existence. In this world of survival of the fittest, everyone is engaged in exploiting others. It is only the devotees of the Lord who uses his body, mind, and words not only for his own benefit, but for the welfare of others. So this is called living for others, helping others. Number 3, Titikshu. A devotee tolerates the offenses of others. See, Titiksha means endurance. He is detached from the material body, which is composed of skin, bones, blood, pus, urine, and so on. And so he forgives the obnoxious behavior of those who cannot appreciate the value of a devotee of the Lord. Number 4, Satyanistha. A devotee always remains fixed in the truth. He knows very well that he is the eternal servant of the Lord, and thus does not waste his time by engaging in useless material activities. Asuya. A devotee is never envious. He knows that this world is a kind of phantasmagoria. So he never envies someone in any material condition. Therefore, he never unnecessarily criticizes others or causes any kind of disturbance. Number 6, samdrishtihi, a devotee has equal vision. His goal is to attain the eternal Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he is not elated or disturbed by the temporary happiness or miserable conditions of this world. For him, all temporary material conditions are the same. Sarva Upakaraka. Number 7. The devotee is a benefactor of all living entities. Neglecting one's own interest and working for the satisfaction of others is called Parupakaraka. Whereas causing trouble to others for one's personal gratification is called Parapakara. A devotee always works for the satisfaction of Lord Krishna, who is the maintainer of all living entities, and so his activities are ultimately pleasing to everyone. Devotional service to Lord Krishna is the perfectional stage of welfare work because Lord Krishna is the supreme controller of everyone's happiness and distress. Foolish persons, under the influence of false egotism, considering themselves to be the benefactors of others, perform materialistic welfare work rather than attending to the eternal happiness of others. Because a devotee remains pure and engages in missionary activities, he is everyone's best friend. Vasana varjit vichar uprayana. A devotee has no material desires. This is number 8. Those who have given up the service of Krishna maintain a desire to become the master of all they survey. Thus, the conditioned soul is busily engaged in trying to lord it over material nature, although the Lord himself is the actual enjoyer. Ordinary persons see all material things as objects for their personal gratification and thus try to acquire or control them. Ultimately, a man wants to possess a woman and enjoy sex gratification with her. The Supreme Lord supplies the desired fuel that causes the fire of lust to burn painfully in one's heart, but the Lord does not give self-realization to such a misguided person. A liberated devotee who is fully surrendered to Lord Krishna enjoys a blissful life of devotional service and never becomes tempted by the seductions of the external world. The devotee does not follow the example of the foolish deer who is attracted by the hunter's sweet music and then killed. He does not become attached to sumptuous eating, nor does he spend the whole day making arrangements for bodily comfort. A fully surrendered soul who is devoted to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the only enjoyer, never sacrifices his auspicious position of steady intelligence, even in the face of so-called material opportunity. Number 9, Danta. A devotee is naturally repelled by sinful activities and controls his senses by dedicating all his acts to Krishna. Number 10, Mridu. A devotee is gentle. Conditioned souls invariably consider others as friends or enemies, and they justify cruel behavior meted out to their opponents. A devotee never considers others as his enemies and so never indulges in the tendency to take pleasure in the suffering of others. Number 11, Shuchi. A devotee is pure, both internally and externally, because impurity and abomination cannot touch him. Simply by remembering such a pure devotee, one is freed from the tendency to sin. Because of his perfect behavior, a devotee is called Shuchi or pure. Akinchan. A devotee is free from possessiveness He is not eager to enjoy or renounce anything because he considers everything to be Lord Krishna's property. One who is a Kinchan has no desire for religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation because he has no hankering for material enjoyment or renunciation. A Neha. A devotee is indifferent to material acquisitions because he sees everything in relation to the Lord. Number 14. Myth Bhuk. A devotee eats only as much as is required to maintain his health. Indeed, he accepts all types of material enjoyment, not only as much as is required. He is not feverishly attached to sense gratification, like the materialists. When necessary, a devotee can give up anything for Lord Krishna's service, but he does not accept or reject anything for his personal prestige. Shanta. Number 15. A devotee is peaceful because he abstains from material enjoyment, which is full of disturbances. He is indifferent to material enjoyment because he is constantly engaged in the Lord's service. Peaceful does not mean inactive. Because a devotee is active in service to the Lord, material enjoyers may wrongly consider him to be restless, just like themselves. Sathera, number 16. A devotee is fixed in his determination and is not restless. He is not situated on the platform of fearfulness because of material absorption. Sharnagat, number 17. A devotee is fully surrendered to the Lord. A devotee does not take pleasure in anything except serving Lord Krishna, and so he is always attentive while executing his duties in devotional service. Number 18, Muni. A devotee is thoughtful and intelligent, and so he is not distracted from his path of spiritual advancement. See, Muni word is Mananashil. Pramataha. A devotee is without inebriation. Conditioned souls are more or less crazy, but the devotee is sane due to his being situated in his natural or constitutional position. Pramataha. Number 20. Garbhar Atma. A devotee is grave, being absorbed in the absolute truth. His mentality cannot be understood by gross materialists. Dhritman. A devotee is firm and steady in his determination because he has fully controlled his tongue and genitals. In other words, he fully possesses the power of discrimination and does not irrationally change his position. Jit Sad Gun. A devotee has conquered the 6 material qualities: hunger, thirst, illusion, death, fear, and lamentation. Mani, number 23. A devotee is not proud. Even if he is famous, he does not take it very seriously. Manada. A devotee is not one to brag about himself under the influence of passion and ignorance. Rather, he offers all respects to others, since everyone is part and parcel of Lord Krishna. Number 25. Kalya or Daksha. A devotee is expert in making people understand the truth of Krishna consciousness. Maitri. A devotee is a kind friend to everyone because he preaches Krishna consciousness and never encourages anyone on the bodily platform. Karunikaha. A devotee is most merciful because he tries to bring everyone to the platform of sanity or Krishna consciousness. Number 28, Kavi. A devotee is poetic and very learned. He is expert in studying the transcendental qualities of Lord Krishna and is able to show the harmony and compatibility of the Lord's apparently contradictory qualities. This is possible through expert knowledge of the absolute nature of the Lord. One who fully engages in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord is expected to develop all of these transcendental qualities. In the beginning, the devotee should cultivate the limbs of devotional service while continuing to perform the duties of his occupation according to the rules prescribed in the scriptures. As the devotee becomes fixed in devotional service and freed from material desires, he can give up these regulations so that he can intensify his engagement on the spiritual platform. So that means initially do the Karam Kand, be very fixed, regulated about it, but ultimately the Karam Kand is not the goal. That's a means. Simplify the Karam Kand so that you are more and more mentally absorbed in God. Thus, he will gradually become a genuinely saintly person. Krishna consciousness has nothing to do with material enjoyment and renunciation. The conceptions that I am the enjoyer and I have renounced something only apply to those who are in the bodily conception of life. The devotee thinks nothing is mine because everything is owned and controlled by the Lord. And this is what we say in the when we do the Havan, Idam Namam, nothing is ours. Everything belongs to him. So that should be the idea behind our Karam Kand also, our life also. So let's look at a couple of more verses. Verse number 33. Gyatva Gyatvat ye veh mam yavan yascha asmi yadrisha bhajante ananya bhaven te me bhaktamamata. My devotees may or may not understand me in truth, how I am situated beyond the cosmic manifestation. But if they possess unalloyed devotion for me, I consider them to be great personalities. So what is God looking from us is that how much we love him. That's all. Whether we can understand anything or not, doesn't matter. Are we loving him or not? In this verse, the word Yavan is used to indicate that Lord Krishna is unlimited, beyond the jurisdiction of material existence. He is captivated by the love of his pure devotees. It is said that Lord Krishna never leaves Vrindavan because of the love of the cowherd men and women. The word Ya is used to indicate that the absolute truth appears as the son of Vasudeva. Yadricha indicates that the Lord is completely self-satisfied. And Aptakama means one who has nothing to gain from anyone else. Still being captivated by the love of his devotees, the Lord sometimes appears to be dependent on them, needing them to fulfill his desires. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always independent, but he reciprocates the love of his devotees and thus seems to be dependent upon them. For example, Lord Krishna appeared to be completely dependent upon Nand Maharaj and the mother Yashoda as a child in Vrindavan. The word Ajnatva means ignorant, and it indicates that sometimes a devotee may seem to be philosophically naive and bereft of a proper understanding of the Lord. Although a materialist or impersonalist may appear to be very highly qualified, without Krishna consciousness, such a person will never attain the success of life. One must understand the personal feature of the absolute truth and surrender unto him. Even if one is not very intelligent, if he simply accepts that he is the eternal servant of the Lord, he will certainly attain perfection. The residents of Vrindavan had no idea or didn't understand that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. They simply loved Krishna as their most beloved, and it is for this reason that they are considered perfect. So, love. Next part is where several verses are together, and it's a long one, so we'll just stop it here today and start with verse number 34 next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much. Any question? See, these qualities of a Bhagat, we read in Bhagavad Gita also in chapter 12. Some of the terms are same, some different, but the idea behind is exactly the same. So what we need to do is just jot them down and check them out. How many qualities we have, how many more we need to work on. Where are we lacking? So that's what we have to look at. Okay, so qualities of a Bhagat. Because this is exactly what Uddhava wanted to know, and Lord Krishna is telling him. And through this, we can learn also. Okay, so let's have the bhajan also. Who will be singing today?